Hey everybody, welcome to another Monday Momentum where I'm here to share a good word with you to start your week off right. Today, we're going to talk about all the things that you need to know to ensure that you know that you've been a leader all your life. Listen, one of the most important things that I get from students, one of the most impactful things that I do with students is help them understand that they've been a leader, not just starting in college, but some of them in high school and middle school, for some of them in elementary school and before. Many of them don't even realize that they've been a leader for a long time until they get into the session with me and they do some of the work that I have them do, and they realize that they've been taking on seeds of leadership all their life. And so today I'm going to bust 3 myths that get you to think differently about where your leadership journey started. One of the most important things that you need to know is that leadership is not a title, it's not a position, it's not a person, it's a process. And you've been in a process of developing as a leader for many years. It's about the little mini choices that you make every single day that makes you who you are, makes you become who you want to become. And it also helps you see that you've been doing this work for some time. And so I'm going to reveal like a little bit of work from the timeline stuff that I do with students to help you see that you've been leading for a while. And so first myth number 1 is that leadership starts with a title. Listen, leadership does not start with a role. It actually doesn't start when you become the president, the captain, the team lead. It actually starts when you take ownership and responsibility for influencing a group to move forward. When you share your voice, your ideas, your perspectives to help a group achieve the common goal. That's when your leadership starts. And so for some of the students that I worked with, they start realizing that they've been doing that since they were a child in church. When you talk about being on different committees for the group, or talk about one person talked about how they were a safety and helped students cross the street in elementary school. That is leadership. Nobody told you that you needed to actually apply for that job. Nobody told you that you needed to volunteer for that thing. You just felt called, you felt compelled, you felt convicted, and you did it. And that is when your leadership journey starts. And so look at your past. Were you the friend who helped other people out? Were you the student that asked really deep questions? Were you the teammate that kept people's spirits high? Those are little acts or little seeds of leadership that really have a big impact, not only in that moment, but in your future. And so I want you to take down these 3 strategies to think deeper about how your leadership started, right? First is write down 3 times when you acted like a leader in elementary school, in middle school, and in high school. We're not talking about a time where you had a title. We're talking about a time where you influenced people without a title. Before you were put up for a position of authority or power, what was the thing that made you become leading or begin leading in a community, in an organization, in a small village, right? Wherever you are, I want you to find those 3 spaces in elementary, middle school, and high school where you felt like you already had something in you that was sowing seeds of leadership. Here's the second myth, myth number 2, right? Is something around thinking that you gotta be perfect to be a leader. Listen, the best leaders, the most known across world history, were the leaders that made mistakes in public and weren't afraid to take responsibility. They weren't afraid to stumble and make mistakes, because if you don't stumble, you don't make mistakes. Number 1, you're not a leader. Number 2, you're not a trailblazer, right? When you're a trailblazer, you're literally building the path as you go. And so that's why you stumble, because there's no road, right? And so I need you to understand that when you are practicing leadership, it's not about being perfect. It's about progressing. Right? It's about focusing on the people. And when you're focusing on perfection, what you're doing is you're literally focusing on you. You're making it about you, making it about what people think about you, what people want from you, what people are maybe even disappointed in from you. But the reality is, when you make it about progress, when you make it about people, you're doing it, you're showing up in your imperfection because you know it's going to help somebody else. It's not about you, it's about them. And so if you stall, if you paralyze yourself, if you don't move forward, if you don't make decisions, you're going to impact somebody else's future. And that's why you move with imperfection, right? And so what I need you to do is to reflect so that you can respond. Right? I need you to reflect so that you can respond. And so it's not about getting in your head and saying, this is the perfect answer. It's the saying, what's the best answer that I can come up with right now? And then get it out there to the people. And so I need you to focus in on that, right? Reflect so that you can respond, because every leader has setbacks. You think about MLK, he doesn't even know, or at the end of his writings, you will read that he think that he might have took his people into a burning house, right? He realized that at the end, he made it about nonviolent protests, but unfortunately, nonviolent protest is not going to get them to the equity in the country that they were looking for, right? He said that he definitely was going to help a social movement, but it wasn't going to help the economic movement. And that's where he really wanted to get equity for, and some even think that he got killed for that reason. And so here's a practical strategy that I want you to actually take on, right? So list one mistake or one mistake moment that helped you learn more about yourself, or helped you more learn about your leadership, or help you learn more about your process of influencing people, so that you can see that your mistakes are literally opportunities for you to level up and take your leadership to the next level, right? So when I think about a mistake that I made plenty of them, right? But I would definitely say thinking that the degree was the thing that was going to be the promise after I graduated to get me a job was actually a mistake that got me into higher education, student affairs, that helped me become a student affairs professional, that helped me become a professional speaker, that helped me become a nationally known educator, right? That helped me become a faculty member. That little mistake of believing that the degree was the ticket was the thing that got my career to explode in higher education. And so sometimes you need to realize that the mistakes are literally just opportunity and learning moments for you to actually teach somebody else how to actually move through or maneuver through that crisis or that personal moment. Right now, I get to coach students who are confused about their degree, confused about how it's going to help them secure a job, confused about what degree or what field to pick. And I get to tell them my life experience of what it was for me to just go to class, do the work, and graduate and not get a job. And so literally had to learn from firsthand experience that it wasn't enough to be competitive in a specifically in a recession, right? And so I needed to do something different. And so now, as I moved into a faculty career, I was doing something different as a hall director. I was doing something different as a coordinator for student success, as a coordinator for multicultural affairs. I was doing something different that allowed for me to move into a faculty position when an opportunity came, y'all. And so listen, the third myth that I want to make sure that I'm giving to you all before we wrap up for today. And again, I see y'all in the chat. So if y'all got any questions, make sure that you ask any questions that you got in the chat, because I'm monitoring it, right? But the third myth, and before I go into the third myth, of course, you got to make sure if you're checking out the replay on YouTube that you like, you share, and you subscribe. And so again, the last belief that I want to make sure, I mean, not the last belief, the last myth that I want to make sure that I tell y'all about is about leadership is only about being in the future. It's only about the future. The reality is that your leadership started well before you got to this moment, right? Wherever you are, whether you're a professional, whether you're a college student, whether you're a high school student, whether you're in middle school, right? And you're figuring things out. I need you to know that your leadership started well beyond this moment that you're in right now. Like, Sometimes we look at ourselves and saying that I'll be the leader one day once I get that right opportunity. But the reality is, once the right opportunity comes, and if you've never practiced, you're going to be shooting bricks. Okay, I'm gonna say that one more time, right? If the right opportunity comes, but you never practice, you're gonna be shooting bricks in a game, in a stadium full of people, and you're gonna be embarrassed. You're gonna be feeling like disgruntled. You're gonna be feeling like you're a disappointment. The reality is, because you was waiting on that right opportunity instead of preparing for the right opportunity, you didn't see yourself as a leader now. And so in the future, the thing gonna come that you really, really desire, and you're not gonna be ready. And so I need you to recognize your readiness today. I need you to recognize your readiness today. Like, leadership is on a timeline. It's not a deadline. And so you thinking that you're trying to wait for this age, this moment in time, this degree, this certification, this validation is not coming. And when it does come, you got to be ready. And if you're not ready, it's going to pass you over, right? The opportunity of a lifetime only lasts within a lifetime of opportunity. And so you never know that you'll get that opportunity again to show your stuff in front of the right people, in front of the right community, in front of the right networks. You never know if you're going to get that opportunity again, and you never know when it'll come. It might come again in 10 years. Are you willing to put as much work 10 years every single day to make sure that you're ready for that opportunity? I ain't gonna lie, act like I'm not this type of person. I remember getting to a place where I was getting recognized for my speaking, but I wasn't as good at speaking. I hadn't taken the time to train at speaking. I had taken my talent and my gifts for granted. I never trained. I never practiced. I just got on stage and did it. And the problem was, people wanted more than just somebody who was practicing on stage. They wanted somebody who was a professional. They wanted somebody who had already mastered their message. They already knew the message was mastered enough to be able to move people in a certain direction. And I wasn't able to move people yet. And so I had no idea. I had no business. I had no grounds for asking for the things that I was asking for. I had no business doing the things and asking for the people that I wanted to be in front of. Some people want the big stage. Some people want the big crowd. Somebody want the big moment. But the reality is, if you haven't practiced for it, it's literally going to send your momentum backwards. And so that's what happened for me in a lot of ways, not just in my speaking career, but also my professional career. And I had to figure it out. I had to take a step back to practice. What do I need to learn? What do I need to know? How do I need to be better so that when that opportunity comes, I'll be ready? And now I'm ready. And so, listen, y'all, I'm gonna wrap this up. Here's one strategy for the myth that your leadership is only in the future: is identify one way you're leading today. Even if it's helping one person feel seen, feel heard, feel loved, identify one way that you're leading today, and identify one way that you're going to influence a person every single day for the rest of the month. That's going to be a good strategy for you to break down and get characteristics of when your leadership showed up. What are the things that you actually cared about? What are the things that you want to do more of? What are some of the things that you're like, I can do less of that? Some of the things I necessarily don't care about, right? And so I need you to know, overall takeaways, that the leadership without label grows through grit, shows up, and shines whenever available. You don't need a title to lead, right? All you need is a desire to help people, right? Help groups of people achieve a goal. You need to just look back and learn about who you were, because you've been leading all along. You just haven't seen it. And so all along, you've been seeing other people grow and be better because of you in a community. And so I need you to identify those things so that when you move forward in your future, that you believe, that you don't have to think deep about your past, that you don't worry about your past, that you forgive yourself for your past, and all you do is focus on moving forward. I hope this was good. Yo, if this was a good one, I appreciate you all. Again, we'll be here every single Monday, 7 o'clock Eastern time. You'll see the replay on YouTube. If you like the replays, like, share, and subscribe. Of course, as always, keep doing the good work.